As fall camp kicks off today with the first official practice, we have to discuss the most important topic on the board right now, and that's height and weight charts.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
So we're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. There's no one on the beat. There's no one that covers Auburn that loves height and weight charts as much as I do. And today we're going to talk about gains, baby. Making gains. As Auburn reports yesterday, one of the things they do, obviously, is update height and weight charts from all the summer workout programs. And there's some huge updates, quite literally and figuratively. We're going to discuss all those from the offensive line, the running back room, and then some just other notables that will make your get you a little bit excited. We'll talk about that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to roback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order, no matter what you're looking for, whether it be polos, pullovers, hoodies, doesn't matter. Shorts, pants, swimsuits, hats, they have it all. And they got something for everybody. If you you want to go zany, they got you covered. If you want to go traditional, they got you covered as well. Save big, show them some love. It's roback.com. I didn't coin the phrase hulking super teen, but I love to use the phrase hulking super teen. I love to discuss hulking super teens and hulking super young 20s when it comes to Auburn football. And this is one of my favorite parts of there's several times throughout the year where they do this, but the one right before the season starts is my favorite because obviously that's going to be what you can, the size and whatnot you can expect for the season. So when looking through the updates, the one that really jumps off the page to me as a whole is Auburn's offensive line room. And I don't necessarily just mean the starting five. The starting five are going to be probably one of the bigger, and that's what I've been told. Everybody that says, man, when you see the offensive line, they just look bigger than we're used to. It looks like a bigger offensive line. And when you add up their weights across the board, they average about 326 pounds across the board. So they're going to be able to move some bodies, hopefully, this year. Obviously, you got your big boy on the end, Xavier Chaplin at 6'7", 348. Dylan Wade gained a bunch of good weight. He gained, I think, 12 pounds. He's up to 315. They're at left guard. Connor Lew at 308. Jeremiah Wright gained some weight. He's up to close to 350, I think 348 or something like that. Let me see where he is. Jeremiah Wright. Yeah, 348. And then you got Mason Murphy right around 320. So one of the bigger offensive lines that I can remember. I'm really trying to think if you go back, there maybe had been some Tuberville offensive lines when it was really ground and pound, which is interesting because Hugh likes to be able to obviously spread it out and throw it around and use tempo. A lot of these guys are taller. So other than Jeremiah Wright, Xavier Chaplin's 6'7". So it's easy for him to carry 348. Mason Murphy's, taller. It's easy for him to carry 320 plus pounds. It's different. I guess it's not so concerning that, you're going to have more of a pass spread out offense, but you're going to have almost like a run blocking, road grading style and shape offensive line. So they'll be fun to watch. I really think this offensive line has a chance to be really good. And I think this is part of it. You remember back whenever I can remember when they would do Alabama had one of the most, I can't remember the year. I want to say it was like 2014 or something like that. 2014 or 2015, when they had one of the biggest offensive lines out there, and they would put their offensive line against like the New York Giants. They would say they'd have like the New York Giants offensive line out there, and then they would show Alabama's offensive line. And I think this has a chance to be one of, not necessarily, I'm not saying they're going to be a NFL level offensive line, but from a size perspective, there's not many NFL offensive lines I think that are going to be they're going to be much bigger than what Auburn's is. So not just though the starters are really jumping out to me. Guys, you're not going to believe this, okay? This is crazy. I don't really even know how this is possible, but Broderick Scholl, okay? When Broderick Scholl, he was the 4 to 5-star freshman, depending on which site you look at, from Oklahoma. When he was recruited and when he signed with Auburn, he was somewhere in the high 280s, okay? Like he wasn't quite 290 pounds, but he was close. All right. And I remember there was a big update where he got over, 300 pounds. He got to over 300 pounds, I think, after spring or something like that. Well, after he got here and worked out a little bit. He's gained 23 pounds since spring. He's listed as 6'5", 327. For anybody that was sort of worried or concerned about him at all, from a physicality standpoint, from a measurable standpoint, he is a prototype tackle like right now. He is very, very well put together. And he was a really good athlete in general, even at 288 pounds. So you would think he'd be able to still be able to move pretty good if it's, done the right way, which these guys are going through like military level training. So I would not be shocked if this guy is not challenging for a starting position next year. He's come here, he's got his hard hat on, and he's getting to work. And then you have another one of the freshmen that, if you remember back in spring, he was even taking some starting snaps at left tackle. And I think he was kind of brought in with the mindset of he'll be a center. And that's Ty Buster. A little bit unheralded, not a ton of eyes on him. Auburn loved him from the beginning. He's another one. He came in at 288 and he's up to 313. These guys are putting in the work. They are getting after it. And that's exactly what you need. You got to have that mindset of, I'm coming in and I understand that I'm not going to play right away. I understand that it's going to take some work. I understand that I've got to wait for my turn and I got to get polished and ready to go. So while I'm doing that, the one thing that I can control is my body. I can control is getting in shape and being ready for that opportunity. And these young guys, man, when you talk about culture, when you talk about building it from high school and the importance of establishing, those homegrown roots, this is something you can point to say, man, these guys seem like they get it. Another young guy, offensive lineman that I think has the potential to be a good player in the future is Favor Edwin. Didn't play a ton of football, and he's come in and he was in that first, I believe, that first full class, and he's had to wait his turn. He was really raw. They really like him, but he's 6'6", 317. So another guy that you have a chance to groom for when he's ready. And when he gets there, physically, he's going to be on point. Physically, he's going to be ready to make it happen. So that offensive line room as a whole, man, holy cow. We're going to talk about the running back room. The running back room is really interesting to me. And there's one specific reason and something that we've been talking about that just doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. We'll talk about that. We'll be back right after this. So there were some big gains in the running back room as well. The biggest gainer is Damari Alston. Damari Alston's up to 214 pounds. He's gained right at 10 pounds since spring. So he checks in at what, like 5'9", 215. And he is actually the biggest running back from a weight perspective on the roster, even more so than Darrell Robinson, who checks in about 6 or 7 pounds lighter at 207, and you have Jeremiah Cobb at 200 pounds. I don't really know why, but the narrative or the thought has been, when you bring in Darrell Robinson, he's going to be sort of like he had kind of morphed into I've heard the term bowling ball. I've heard the term short yardage back. I've heard the term, thumper. The thunder versus the lightning. I mean, I've heard all these things of people kind of assuming that's the role that he's going to have. But Damari's the most bowling ball-esque type running back that Auburn has right now. He's the guy that's the biggest, the bulkiest of all of them. The more I see this, the more I feel like it's probably more legitimate that Damari is going to be your number one guy, your do-it-all. And then we'll have to see where the roles fall on the next two. I've seen some things that I really like out of Jeremiah Cobb. And, I think he can be a really good – I think he has a chance to maybe have the highest ceiling of the three just because of what all he can do. But Darrell Robinson's intriguing to me. Darrell Robinson at 207, that to me tells me that obviously he's way more than just a one-trick pony. He's way more than just a short yardage back. He's way more than just a bowling ball. Like, that's a pretty good – I mean, he's one of the taller backs, 6 foot, 207. I mean, that's pretty good prototype size for I think I would call it a Hugh Freeze running back. I don't think Hugh Freeze really does much with, your 230-pound thumpers. I don't think that's what he's really looking for. He wants dudes that are versatile, that are explosive. And we know Darrell was explosive last year as he averaged, close to, I think, 8 yards a carry. That running back room, as time goes on, I've had them sort of penciled as a question mark. I would have them sort of down on the list of position groups as far as I'd have them towards the bottom if you ranked like best position group to the worst. But the more not worst, the best to, you know what I'm saying, top to bottom, I would have them towards the bottom. But the closer we get to the season and the more I hear out of these running backs, and now you see the weight changes, maybe you got something here. Maybe you got the right skill set. I've talked about that before. Maybe the skill set of this room could be really good. You got Alvin Henderson, over 200 pounds. That's awesome. Omar Mabson, who's a year ahead of where he even should be at 213. He's right there, almost identical size to Damari Alston. Been hearing a lot of good things out of both of those guys throughout the summer, and Alvin Henderson even in the spring. So good stuff out of that running back room. I feel much, much better, and it could just be that the season's getting here and I'm getting excited, but I feel much better as a whole with the running back room. So love to know your thoughts there. Do you feel any better, worse, or the same as you did before with the running back room? So we've talked about two position groups. I kind of felt like we just go just talk about some other notables that I think are going to be that are very intriguing. Deuce Knight came in, I think, either right at 200 pounds or just shy of 200 pounds. And if you were worried at all about him buying into his own hype or buying into, the 5-star hype and maybe just thinking I've already arrived, I would say think again. He has come in, he's put the work in, and he's gained close to 20 pounds. I mean, right now, I think he's going to be, I think he'd be listed at, I think 6'4". Let me check really quick. 6'4", 217. Boy, if that doesn't get your blood pumping. I don't know what will, and I bet you he can still move really, really good. Been seeing a lot of film of him working at QB Country in Mobile during the summer. I think this kid is just different. This kid's different, and his mindset's different, and I think he's here ready to play. Talk about another guy. This one makes me almost want to stand up out of my chair because there's so many things you could do with this child. There's so many places you could put him on the field, and now, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised to see him take some snaps at linebacker. Guys, Eric Winters is up to 200, right at 220 pounds, 6 foot, 220. And when I say freak athlete, guys, he would play wildcat quarterback in high school and just house it in the top classification of Alabama football, which is very, very competitive. He'd house it from 85 yards. He'd take a wide receiver screen 80 yards. And then he'd lurk there in the defensive backfield and pick you off and take it to the house. And now this child's up to 220 pounds. I mean, you have a guy you could quite literally he could cover anybody on the field. He could cover a tight end. He's big enough to probably cover a tight end, be physical enough to cover a tight end, fast enough to cover a wide receiver, big enough to pick up a running back out of the backfield. The cool thing is, like, if you're worried about where you put him, like, where do I put him? You can literally put him anywhere. I think Eric's athletic enough to probably line up at corner. You always worry about freshmen and their mindset. You always worry about these guys. My head's spinning when I get to college. There's girls. There's no rules. There's no curfew. What do I do? I got money now, a lot of money. How do I handle it? These dudes are putting work in, man. They're coming. They are coming to work. That one really jumped out at me. I mean, again, the linebacker room has some question marks. If this helps him get on the field, get him on the field. Move him down, slide him down in some packages, maybe in some obvious passing downs. This kid has a chance to be special. Eric Winters, 219 pounds. I'm just going to say 220 just because it sounds better. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Malik Autry, typically you don't see people go the other way. It's pretty easy. I feel like it's easier to put weight on than it is to lose weight, especially if you're really heavy. Malik Autry is just a big child. He's a big guy, okay? And he came in somewhere around like 350 pounds, 300, maybe mid 350s. And it's all, that baby fat. Got to get shaped, got to get sculpted. And he's dropped like 20 pounds. He's down to like 330. Again, another 5-star-ish freshman that's fine coming in and putting in the work. It's just good stuff. I mean, it's hard to find something negative. It just seems like this team has the right mindset. And the last one I'll talk about, I love DeMarcus Riddick. Okay, I love DeMarcus Riddick, and I thought that he's going to be a dude ever since he got here, but he was a little bit light playing last year. He was a little bit light in the pants last year. Okay, that's why I feel like he couldn't really be a every down linebacker. He was more of a gadget guy, more of a contain when you played an athletic quarterback guy. He's bulked up to 228 pounds. at 6'3". I mean, that is prototype prototype linebacker size, I feel like, for the position he's going to play. The outside, probably play on the outside. That's the prototype size. Probably can maybe get up to maybe 235. But I don't even know that you want to get him there, because I imagine that 228 is lean and mean and will put you on your back. Those hits that come from DeMarcus Riddick this year are going to be felt a little bit more, because that 228, that 230 coming in at a 4.5 or better, it's going to leave a mark. That is going to leave a crater in somebody's face. So good stuff all around. I mean, if you want to get jacked up for spring camp, I'm not spring camp, my gosh. If you want to get jacked up for fall camp, start with the height weight chart, baby. Just get lost in that and look at some of the before and afters and some of the changes since spring. This team, man, when they talk about having expectations and being able to embrace those expectations and think they're going to be good and feel confident that they're going to be good, it starts in the weight room, man. It starts in the summer. It starts in those tough, grueling workouts, getting your body ready for the grind. And it's just fun to see. Nobody loves digging through a height weight chart than me. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you love it more, let me know in the comments. I'll be at practice this afternoon. They moved it from this morning to this afternoon. So if you're not already a member at thebarnauburn.com, you need to sign up. I'll be having a practice notes thread. We're going to be looking primarily at what do the rotations look like? Who's in the drill? What's the order that they're going in? Kind of give you a little bit of insight of where they stack up on the depth chart. I think running back is going to be very interesting. Linebacker is going to be very interesting. Free safety is going to be very interesting. Right tackle. Is it going to be Mason Murphy? Is it going to be too tall? Like, I think a lot of those questions, they won't be answered today, but you'll get a good idea of maybe the direction that they're going. So definitely sign up and jump in on that. That'll be a lot of fun. Can't wait. First real practice. We get to see this team in person. Very fired up. So, guys, thanks for listening. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll be back again soon. Hopefully, not hopefully. We'll be back again soon, and we're going to be talking about practice. We're going to be talking about practice. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again tomorrow. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.